All right, guys, welcome to the live for today, Sunday, September 5th. I said Saturday because yesterday was my birthday. I did not announce that yesterday because I was trying to keep everybody kind of chill and not too excited about my birthday because I don't like to make a big deal about it, but it was my birthday. So today is like the after celebration, the day after my birthday that I'm celebrating with you guys. I celebrated yesterday with my lovely Janet and our dogs. And today I'm celebrating with you guys in a Q&A where we can talk about anything we want to talk about. I got a lot of questions coming up. I see that. Thank you, Kingdom K9, for the note ahead of time that we want to put a question mark down underneath. I don't know if I'll get to all the questions today. I will try. I'll do my very, very best. Most importantly, I want to tell you how grateful I am for you allowing me to help you train your dogs, because I think that is such an amazing responsibility. It's such an amazing task. It's such a good thing. I love, love, love what I do. I love being here. I love doing the live chats, talking to you guys about dogs, giving you the advice that I've learned over the years with all the dogs I've worked with, and giving you the tools really to make living with your dog, training your dog, owning a dog, the best it can possibly be. Because without the information, there's a lot of problems that come up. There's a lot of issues, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of things you can't figure out. And with all the information available online nowadays, it's rare to just be able to find good information. So I've tried to put as much information out there so that my search terms come up quicker on YouTube. The information comes up quicker. It's balanced information. It's not radically left, radically right. It's not very, very one-sided. I believe in corrections. I believe in treats. I believe in everything. That being said, again, I want to just thank you for putting your trust in me. I don't take it lightly. I take it very, very seriously. And I'm going to turn off the clicking, because whenever a comment comes through, it clicks. So really quick, in the description down below, you'll see there's a link for the new shirt. I'm going to stand up here for a second. Locate, dominate. This is my new shirt, a slogan that Steve came up with and talked about. And by the way, the back of the shirt has an awesome logo too. If you want to order it today, you can, and you can save 10%. And the link is in the description down below. You'll see that link. Now, furthermore, if you want to wait till tomorrow or Tuesday and order one, you can get free shipping, and you can get the baseball jerseys because it's a different company. Spreadshirt is a company that sells these, but I wanted to have a shirt available with a discount right away, and that's going through Teespring. So I use them both. I really, do I love either one? Not really. I'm looking for a great t-shirt company, so bear that in mind. Anyway, I'm going to randomly go through here until I can kind of find out what's going on. Hi, Janelle. Good to see you there. George says, I'm bringing home a female German Shepherd pup, and at six weeks. That's really young. I'll tell you why in a second. And I'm wondering what age I use the fur saver and prong collar. Can I use the martingale for everyday activities and the others for training? Yes, you can, George. And actually, sorry, I meant to put this down here so that you kind of see the questions as I'm reading them to you guys. 6 weeks is too young to bring a puppy home. I'll tell you that right now. You want to let this dog learn bite inhibition from the mother, from other pack mates, litter mates and stuff like that. You really don't want to bring a puppy home at 6 weeks. It's just too young. I would love to know why your breeder is doing that at 6 weeks. Goofy, hey, stop licking. I'm a little suspect of it, I'll be honest with you. But fur savers and stuff like that, you're going to start using it about, 4 or 5 months, something like that, 6 months. The beginning, you want to use a martingale, or a little harness if you're trying to create drive in the dog, stuff like that. But my bigger question to you is that 6 month thing. It doesn't sound good to me. Christopher says 10-month-old Doberman started to get stressed, excited during last walk of the day, 9 p.m., lots of rapid head movement and pulling on the leash. Should I say she's going through pseudo pregnancy now? I don't know. That would be my last guess, to be honest with you. I would wonder more, since it's later, it's darker out, if the dog has some kind of a vision issue. And I would have that checked by a vet for sure. Casey, 4-year-old deaf Great Dane had 8 to 9 instances of resource guarding Usually me episodes usually last only seconds and hasn't done harm. Until recently, he broke the jaw of our 10-week-old golden doodle. What do I do? I would feed him separately. You know, I mean, deaf dogs are going to be more neurotic. Great Danes, it's not the first Great Dane I've heard of being deaf. I've heard of several of these dogs being deaf. But it's not a good one. I mean, if the dog is resorting to aggression in this, you've got a problem, and you've got to take it very, very seriously, because a Great Dane is a very, very, very big dog and not fair to your 10-week-old dog. First of all, you shouldn't even have them together at this age. You should be doing a lot of instruction so they learn to love each other, know each other. Alfard says, how tight should a prong collar be? I'm afraid I might be hurting my Rottweiler. Also, can you please explain what I can learn from your site? Very interested in becoming a member. Well, you should become a member, because the membership, if you've learned any one tiny thing here on YouTube, you will learn a plethora more on my site. Because the site has, the lesson I just put up this Wednesday is 35 minutes. It's 35 minutes of instruction of me going through step by step every single step of the way. YouTube videos are here for quick information, for quick bites, for pieces of the information that will give you a lot of insight. But if you want a great depth of the insight, I would go there. And prong collars, again, that's something that's on YouTube that you can see that how snug the prong should be relatively snug. Let's see here. Beatrice. I mark my physical correction with no. When dog complies before physical correction, do I still give physical correction? No, of course not. You do not. The whole idea of marking the correction, or pre-marking by saying no and then pausing and then giving the physical, is to give the dog a chance to learn that verbal sign, that verbal cue. And if you start correcting dog after that, then you're doing a big disservice to your dog. So no, you should not. Okay, real Joshy. Yes, Josh. I have a 12-year-old female Australian Shepherd, 4-month-old male German Shepherd. That's a big age difference. Okay, let's see where you're going with this. Puppy instigates play. Older dog doesn't want to and will growl, but never hurt puppy. Puppy created. If too annoying her, is this okay? Yes, you're doing absolutely the correct thing. You want to make sure, because remember I said this age difference is going to be an issue. It's going to be too much on the Aussie, on your female, right? The 4-month-old is just going to be full of play, and if you work this out right, they'll be good friends. But if you don't, you're just going to have a really annoyed older dog and a puppy that is kind of displaced with his place to put his enthusiasm. So just structure it. Take your puppy out, train your puppy, play with your puppy, have fun with your puppy, but don't let your puppy annoy your other dog. It's just it's not a good thing, not at all. Ayadal, sorry. Do you think it's better to set alarm during the night or respond to a puppy crying during the night to potty train? Well, as long as I would, in the beginning, I would set an alarm. I would just, when I get up, I'd look, see what time it is, I would let the dog out. I would really focus on getting to learn the puppy. Know what time you give the dog the last food, last water, then what time they need to go out. You want to try to make it through the night. And, 4 hours should be plenty of time. So that means if you're sleeping 8 hours a night, you have to get up once in the middle of the night. And that's just for, a few weeks or months until the dog gets used to it, and then you can go from there. Linda says, how to use e-collar in long-distance recall, such as a dog beach versus using e-collar as a correction. Can you train both? Yes, you can train both, because sometimes people use the vibrate as a recall. Sometimes they use the tone as a recall. And otherwise, they'll call the dog with a whistle or, hey, come here. And then when the dog doesn't, then it's a correction on the recall. Some of you guys I see something popping up here. I was going to put my glasses on, but it went away. So if you guys do a sticker or something like that, then it'll pop up on my screen. And I won't see it because I don't see things fast enough. That's just what you got here. Okay, Gina says, my 6-year-old golden retriever does not look at me during heel. I use treats to get her to look at me, but once we start walking, she looks down to the side. How can I fix this? Well, I've got a video on that. That's a real tough thing to explain without the visual of the dog next to me, but I start to get the dog to see the treats in my hand. I take the treat up to my mouth. I use my mouth to spit the treats in. I do a lot of things in place. I do a lot of focus games with the dog to get them to really understand what I want. And then I start moving. But I don't start moving too soon because I think that's going to be the problem. Okay, let's see. Thank you for the birthday wishes. That's very nice. All right, here we go. No, Gina, you just had this question. Hi, Donald. Nice to see you. I'm looking for questions here. How would I introduce a dog to water? Well, you know, dogs, if they have an aversion to it, you got to be careful because you don't want to spook the dog. But what I would do when I introduce a dog to water, I just take some treats or a ball. I throw it in the shallow end of the pool. I let them get in. If they don't want to get in, I'll carry them in and let them swim out. The most important thing with water is that they have to know how to get out, right? The safety of getting out of a pool is more important to me than anything else because I don't want my dog ever to drown in a pool. You guys, okay, I'm going to answer this question here, Nikhil, but you got to put a question mark in front of it because if you don't, I don't know it's a question. And then I just don't know. There's hundreds of comments. By the way, put a thumbs up on the video and hit subscribe. Please, if you're here and you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you know when I'm going to be live and you're going to get all this free information by just subscribing. And it's going to help us get to 1 million subscribers. That is the goal, 1 million subscribers. How can German Shepherd to bite the sleeve with his inner teeth? I think you mean past his canines with his back teeth. And to get a full grip, the dog, that's tricky. It's really tricky to train because most dogs are going to bite with their front, with their insides, and then just get their canines onto it. But a full mouth grip is something that's developed, and it's really not something I can per se explain to you verbally because it's something we practice on a tug. If the dog's not biting full mouth, we don't play with the dog. We don't engage the tug. We hold it real steady, and when they bite fully, that's when the game starts. So you mark the behavior of what you want with the continuation of the game that the dog wants. Okay, and Nikhil asked the question 3 times. I got it now. So, and again, question marks before it. I'm scrolling down. Okay, here. Atom says, Humane Society of Lake County, Florida. Happy belated birthday. Can you recommend a good Bluetooth mic with windscreen I can use with smartphone to make videos for adoption? Yeah, you know what? It's, actually, I'll tell you what I would use. I would use the Rode, the little Rode mic, because I would get that one. But what I use personally is the little Sennheiser, the little tiny pack. I think it's like $2.99 or something like that. That's what I would use, actually. Something keeps popping up there on the screen, and I can't see it. It's like a little yellow thing that pops up there. I think you guys are giving me super chats or something. So thank you for that if you're doing it. Okay, here, finally made a what? So if that question, if Humane Society of Lake County, I use the Sennheiser one. I like it a lot. I think it's a really good mic. I've used it for years. But if I was going to get one today, I would get the Rode because I just used one the other day and I really liked it. Nick, when can I use a harness? In the city, I use martingale, but when I want to take him on a hike in the woods, can I use a harness with a 10-foot leash when we go for 5 miles? I don't, hang on, Alan's sending me a text here. Let's see what Alan has to say. Oh, wow, okay. Real Malinois man sent me $50 birthday share. Thank you so much for that. That is very, very, very kind of you. Much appreciated. Thank you. Very, very kind. I will make good use of that, and Goofy will get some marrow bones from that. I'm sorry, I can't see the things when they pop up. So if you're doing a super chat or something like that, thank you very, very much. I don't see it, but it is appreciated. Thank you. I don't like harnesses, Nick. I just don't like the dog on a harness because it's just something I don't use. If you're going to the woods and your dog's going to drag you along, then awesome. Then use one. But other than that, I wouldn't use one. Talia, and thank you, Alan, for letting me know that. If you can kind of tell me what those super chats are, I appreciate it because I can't see them here. I got a super chat from Janet J. Pale Blue. See, that's my wife, and I can't even see these. I don't even know how to see it. Okay, my puppy is scared, and Janet is, by the way, out competing with Dwayne in agility. And yesterday, Dwayne got a first place on one of his, which is no doubt because Janet has done such a great job training him. My puppy is scared to leave the house and go on walks. We've been going for 3 weeks now. I use plenty of positive praise and treats. Still scared of everything outside. And you know what you got to do, Talia? You just got to keep going. There's no way around it. There's no secrets. You gotta keep going. Dell, what are some of my favorite and enrichment activities? I'm going to see if can I make this bigger? Let me see something here. I'm going to do this and then make it bigger so we can see these things. And there's another super chat coming through, and I can't see them. I wish there was a place I could see the super chats. What does that button do? Nothing. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't even know how to use it. Enrichment activities is just training. I mean, anything enrichment is engagement, is training, is doing all that stuff. It's really, that's it. That's what I do. Scout, that's a very nice comment. I'll just put it up there. There's Maya barking. Probably an Amazon delivery or something upstairs. Who knows? JB's Whiz says, how do I prevent my Rottie Bulldog Retriever from getting too excited and jumping up on people? I talk about this in almost every single Q&A, almost every one. I always teach the dog to sit. I keep the dog on a leash. I teach the dog a place command. I keep the dog in a crate. I put the dog... Alan, I can't see that. Alan, the computer's over here, and I'm looking over here to keep an eye on, so I don't keep having to do this. But I see that it says the super chat, but I can't see it, my eyes, or else I need to wear my glasses. So just let me know. If you guys super chat, thank you so much, by the way. The other thing you can do there, JBs, is you can, I'm not ignoring you, Alan. I'm not ignoring you. Is step on the leash when the dog goes to jump up. Teach him that a few times, and I usually generally get it pretty easy. Okay, Nikhil already answered that for you before you put the question marks in there. Dennis, around what age do you teach the leave it command? Your method uses aversives and rewards to initially teach the command. So at what age do you introduce the puppy? Well, I teach it pretty early on, you know. And aversives are something that puppies learn before they ever learn rewards. They learn aversives from their mother. They learn aversives from the person that the creature that gave them life. And that is if they bite too hard on the nipple, if they get too rough with their litter mates, anything like that, they get corrected. So putting an aversive in is not the end of the world. Okay, what's the best way to correct the loading and arousal? My dog, 2-year-old Ridgeback, is reactive to other dogs. If I correct with prong collar, the dog becomes more reactive. Well, I would, first of all, teach them what the correction means before you just correct them, right? That's really, really important. You want to make sure the dog understands that clearly. And if the dog is getting more aggressive from the prong collar than the prong collar setting, this is why sometimes prong collars or e-collars aren't the right tool to use in dog-to-dog reactivity, because they trigger that and flip that behavior back onto the other dog. And then you got a problem, right? So sometimes the simplest tool works the best. Sometimes just a slip lead is what I've used. I'm 12 years in shelter, thousands of dogs. Slip lead is the tool I use most. So maybe change the tool. Rory says, what correction do you recommend for a 1.5-year-old German Shepherd female for reactivity towards cats? Unsure on how much to correct. It seems unfair to act. It seems unfair if the act is natural. Well, it's not, right? Because there you're making a huge mistake, Rory, because just because the act of being predatory to the cat is natural doesn't make it correct. That's it. I mean, if your dog wants to live in a house, he's not allowed to kill your cat. And you need to put an aversive in there to correct that. I mean, first desensitize the dog to the cat, put him in a crate, let him see the cat going around, let him see the cat has freedom. Now, hopefully you got the dog, you had the cat first. If you're getting the cat after, it's a trickier one, because then you have resource issues. Now, I would use a strong aversive. I'd use an e-collar. I'd use something that the dog knows he must accept the presence of that cat. A strong aversive on that. Fishing with Mikey. What hip and joint supplements do you recommend for German Shepherds? I'll tell you what I would do is I've used glucosamine and chondroitin, like what's that called? Dasequin in the past. Janet uses it. She loves it. I think a really well-balanced diet with good fish oils. Fish oils stop inflammation. I've got a product I'm going to be talking about in the next week or two that you'll really love. And second of all, what you might consider doing is look online to make golden paste that's made with turmeric and coconut oil. That would really help you. I would try that one first. Yeah. Now see this? Now I scroll down here. I see Janet posted it. Now that makes me so happy. Believe it or not, that's the happiest message with Janet's little picture with Jimmy on there. Okay, Casey, you're clarifying something here. Sorry, I should have clarified that Dane only does it if she's sitting or laying near me and the pup comes up. We do feed them separately. Well, so now you've got an issue of resource guarding. You've got a dog that is very dominant and protective over you, and that's something you got to correct with structure, right? You've got to make sure that your dog is not allowed to attack other dogs, whether the dog is deaf, dumb, blind, whatever it is. And I shouldn't say dumb, but mute or blind. The dog's not allowed to attack other dogs. That's it. But you got to get them used to the other dogs first. You must do that. Alexander, I don't know if that's Alexander. I'm thinking that's probably a guy's name. Dog is very reactive on a prong. The dog kind of winces knowing a correction is coming, but will not stop. Should I try correcting with e-collar, or maybe try gentle leader? Don't do the gentle leader, please. Don't do the gentle leader. Do something different. Look at a slip lead, move the dog away. Use an e-collar. You're going to have to figure a way to get the dog around other dogs. Okay, see, now I'm seeing these here. Great dogs, $10. Thank you so much. Shiba dog shaking his hips saying thank you. Thank you very much. It's nice of you, very much. Very, very nice of you. Georgios, is too much socialization bad for protection dog training? No, because protection dog training, dogs should be very social, right? People always make the mistake they want a mean dog to do protection dog stuff. And that shouldn't be the case. Your protection dog should be very, very friendly unless he's playing the game of protection. But it's a good question. Okay, Tivishay 2010. Can you? Okay. So you cancel. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm sorry. I see. I thought you were trying to tell me to cancel your membership, but I appreciate that very, very much. And I'm flattered that you guys love your membership so much, because I do work hard every day to make the membership section amazing and fun and great and educational and everything like that. And by the way, after I'm done here at 11 o'clock California time, I'm going to run over and jump in a members chat for another 45 minutes or so. So if you're a member, you get 2 hours. You get twice the interaction with me for free. Sabine says, 11-month-old border collie seems to have forgotten recall on long line, but constant wildlife chase attempts. Response to nothing, not toys or food, is normal at this age. Will maturity help? Well, maturity will help, but what will really help is if you correct the dog for doing the wrong thing, or correct the dog for not listening to what you're asking. This is where corrections play an integral part in it, right? And with long line training or wildlife chasing, one of the only thing that's going to fix that is going to be an aversive. And people are against me for saying this, but if you can't put a correction on your dog to stop the behavior that the dog is doing, then the dog will continue that behavior. And people say, well, in Europe, prong collars and e-collars are illegal. Well, in Europe, a lot of dogs are chasing wildlife, right? That's the problem. Really, really, really problematic. Okay. Alan says, somebody sent this question. My Shih Tzu barks at other dogs and does not want to mingle with them. Rather, he appears to be on the eve while he is around other, I think he meant on the edge, was around other dogs. How to fix this behavior? He wears a harness during walks. First of all, take him off the harness, right? That's really critical. And start teaching the dog to engage to you more. Correct the dog, attention back to you. Correct the dog, attention back to you. That's going to be much, much, much better for the dog to understand that than the harness. The harness is just going to keep that behavior going. So you've got to put something that's going to correct the dog one way or the other. Quick plug for the Locate Dominate shirt. Look at that. Isn't that cool? This is one of my favorite logos we've done. And there's a bunch new, we're going to have a bunch of new logos coming out. But this Locate Dominate, I think, is a really badass shirt. And again, the baseball jerseys are available tomorrow. Well, they're available now, but you can't get a discount on them. So up to you. wherever you want to go buy them. For a 17-week-old German Shepherd, what would you recommend working on during training using food and a clicker for training? Well, I don't use clickers, right? I use my voice, but if you're using a clicker, you're using that to mark the right behavior. And for a 17-week-old dog, I would still be luring and shaping. Luring sits down, stand, come, anything. You should be luring everything with the dog. Polaris says, I'm trying to see how caught up I am. 9-month-old German Shepherd female stopped liking kibble. Your strategy, physical past, okay. Physical past, okay. You know why she stopped liking kibble is because she's playing you to see if you're going to change her food. Now, if you want to, I mean, I would give her a different food. I'm not big on kibble. I mean, I use the Visionary kibble. I talk about that all the time, and you can get a discount on that if you want to try that. It's a very, very good food. It's what I feed. But you can start adding things in. You can, make your dogs homemade food. That's what I do with Goofy. Goofy gets homemade food, and the other 3 dogs get Visionary kibble and the keto patties. It's up to you. Ronan, good to see you back. Okay, here's this super chat from Real Malmo Man. Lunch is on me. Happy birthday. I still would love to chat with you one of these days. Kevin Peters from Facebook. Well, send me a direct message and we'll chat. I like your logo too, by the way. It's a very, very cool logo. Carlin, by the way, if I'm passing over your question, if you see me not answering your question, it's because there's not a question mark in front of it. It's very hard for me to see read through all these things. I'm literally going super fast on the right, looking at my comments and trying to get to them. If I don't have a question mark in front of it, then I'm just assuming you guys are chatting with each other. So the simple thing is, you see question marks in the questions, put a question mark on it and I'll answer your question. Okay, Carlin says, can I be giving my dog too much positive reinforcement? Yes, you can, by the way. I have a 5-month-old German Shepherd. He is such a good boy, so I reinforce everything he does out of like, but it does lead to a lot of treats and good boys. Well, here's the thing. With a 5-month-old dog, you want to be very, very positive and you want to be very, very forthcoming with praise and affection and all this stuff. But everything in life isn't good. And every person in the world isn't good. So I try to look at training a dog as a preparation for life. That I'm going to always protect you. I'm always going to have your best interest at heart, but you must listen. And when some things come that are not correct, that you should avoid, I will teach you to avoid them because they'll save your life. You must give, just like if you had a child, you want the child to be nice to people, to like people, to think the world is good. But if the child thinks everybody's good, it's going to get in the car with a really, really bad person. So as much as you want to give the dog all praise, which is great at 5 months, I'm not saying change that, but be sure the dog understands structure, because it's the structure that's going to save his life. Let's see. Mrs. Jamie says, my 8-month-old male German Shepherd takes every toy out of my 16-month-old female's mouth. You're letting that happen, by the way. It doesn't seem to bother her, but I don't want her turning on him. What do? I don't want to make it a problem. Then stop making it a problem and just don't let her do it. Right? If I see one of my dogs bullying another one of my dogs, and they do, they're dogs, right? That's just what they do. And if I see them doing it, I stop it. That's it. I stop it. Knock it off. And I take the toys, put the toys away. Simple as that. And I look at Janet, another super sticker for $2.99. Thanks, honey. You're very sweet. I love you very, very much, and I miss you. And I hope you're having a great time with the Dwayne-Mater. Arunesh, super chat 200, and I think it's obviously not dollars, so don't panic, everybody. My Shih Tzu barks at other dogs and does not want to mingle with them. Rather, he appears to be on the edge while he is around other dogs. Oh, okay. This is the question that Alan gave me, and I already answered. John, happy birthday, Robert. May God bless you and keep up the good work. God bless you, my brother. Thank you so much for that. It's very, very nice. Let's see here. Mojo Magic. Yeah, by the way, if you guys have not, how many people you got here? 165. It's very slow, actually, today. 165. Usually we're over 200. please give the video a thumbs up. You have to leave and come back in to give it a thumbs up. That's one thing. Number two, please subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll know there's always. Yesterday, I just put up the new interview with Will Chesney. I got some great podcasts coming up, some really, really awesome podcasts. I've got great lessons coming up. There's another lesson coming up this week. I'm going to actually launch a lesson, I think, on Tuesday this week, which I normally don't do because we've got so much video to go. So Mojo Magic, 5.5-month-old flat coat retrievers, top adult canines are in and look good, but the baby teeth remain are very tight. He isn't reactive to inspections yet. So yeah, if this is the case, if you don't, it's not uncommon for dogs to have double canines, but you'll need to take him to a veterinarian and have them surgically removed. Dwayne had that with one of his canines. I forget if it was a top or a bottom one, but we just took him to the vet, had it done. Not a big deal. It will affect the bite. It can make the teeth crooked if you don't fix it. So do fix it. Sabine says, trainer told me to get easily aroused, distracted dog. Trainer told me to get easily aroused, distracted dog to look at distraction and reward for looking at distractions. I don't understand the logic. Why should the dog look at distractions? I don't know. I wouldn't follow that trainer's advice personally. J-Rod. How early would you be in physical correction? Pup, I have a 12-week-old male that has growled while mounting and clasping his arms around my 1-year-old female during play. You do exactly that. Correct him. Knock it off. Grab him by the scruff of his neck. Knock it off. And tell him not to do that. I mean, you're not going to hit these dogs, but you're going to give them a correction. You've got to give your dog structure. The biggest mistake people make in dog training, right, is not following a natural path. Think about this for a second. Think about it in a natural, normal way where PCBS is not an issue, right? Where no animal rights nutcase is going to jump on your back. Think about it the way the dog lives. And if you were to observe dogs in a natural environment, just living, I'm not saying wild dogs, I'm just saying dogs living on their own. If some dog does something that the other dog doesn't like, they growl at them, they bare their teeth at them, they pin them down. And that stops the behavior. You need to show the dog what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. I mean, that's so simple, and it's so lost because people want to, over and over and over again, humanize this stuff. If you've asked questions before, I can't answer every question because there's so many people who haven't gotten a question. So if I recognize your name that you've asked a question, I might pass over you, and I apologize for that, but that's just what I have to do because we only have so much time here. 8-month-old Malinois who got sick and couldn't go for a walk for 10 days. Now at the walk, she shows aggressiveness towards others, barks with no reason, etc. I appreciate any advice. Happy birthday. Thank you for that, by the way. Kier, I don't know what your name is, but thank you. First of all, if the dog for 10 days didn't go out, has nothing to do with it, right? You're making more of it. You're thinking, oh my God, the dog is lacking socialization. He didn't go out for 10 days. That's not the case. If the dog growls at other dogs, correct the dog. That's it. Correct it. Don't accept it. Move forward. Real Josh, I'm giving you this as a second one because I clicked on it on accident. You actually only get one. But I think I already answered this for you. So good. Now if I see it again, I'll know I answered it for you. Tess, my 7-month-old Malinois, recently started showing aggression towards me on a walk, off leash, and on leash in park. She bites me during zoomies when I take her ball to finish play. Please. Well, that's not aggression towards you. That is playfulness or playful aggression. So this means the dog doesn't respect you. You haven't built structure into your training, which I would suggest doing. But if she bites you when she gets the zoomies, she's running around nip, nip, running around nip, nip. You need to stop the zoomies. You need to get the dog on a line, build structure, and don't let her get into the zoomies. Because when a dog gets into the zoomies, especially a high drive dog like a Malinois or a Dutchie or even border collies and stuff, they get into a frustration mode where they're trying to use their teeth to do something. So fix that. Okay, Linda. I have a 3-month female German Shepherd. I'm home all day. How much training is too much training for that age? Don't want to overwhelm her. I've been working a lot through. Well, I'll tell you the one thing I would do is don't make 5-minute sessions. Make 10, 12-minute sessions and do 3 a day. That's it. You can do a little bit here and there. You can do little things in the house. Don't overdo it with the dog in a sense that the dog thinks you're always there. You're always doing something. Da, da, da. It builds a dog that's too hyper-focused on you. And at some point, the dog will get some separation anxiety. So that's more of a concern for me. Okay, let's see. Here we go. I don't see any question marks. Okay, I'm going to randomly pick on this one. My German Shepherd doesn't obey any commands off leash. How can I achieve my commands with her off leash? Use a long line, right? Because the long line breaks that distance, and the dog's at a distance, you can still correct them. But you must use corrections, and you must use a long line to start that whole thing. Czech bloodline Shepherd to Tviche, 2010, became disinterested in PPD work. I don't know what PPD is. Personal protection, I guess. Abscesses on lip, given antibiotics. Will he be interested in PPD training again since a couple? Well, I think what you're saying here, if he has an abscess on his lip, then he's probably not interested in biting. And I think if this dog has a good bloodline and a good basic setup for protection work, then once the lip abscess is gone, you can kind of coerce him back into it. It's not going to be an issue. Kurt, I do use raw food. I use raw keto food. Goofy gets a raw home prepared meal, and the other dogs get raw keto patties and a little bit of kibble mixed in there, just to keep their calorie intake nice and balanced. Tristan says, my brother's golden retriever needs basic obedience, but when I try to work him, he humps and won't stop. He's unneutered and only does it to some people. How should I direct or correct? He's 5. Well, you have to correct, right? That's all you have to do. You have to tell him, pull him off you, tell him, hey, knock it off, and you have to establish some sort of a bond with him that's based on you being in charge and him not being in charge. Now, that's not going to be yelling at the dog or hitting the dog or anything like that. It's going to be establishing a relationship. When he does it, you pull him off, knock it off, knock it off. And you're going to keep doing it. You're not going to allow him to do it, because the more a dog gets to hump, the harder it is to break that habit. Okay, Kurt, you already answered that question. I think I'm seeing some of these questions again here, but okay, Eric here. Age to start e-collar condition with a Malinois, 6 months. 6 months is fine to start conditioning that basic stuff, if that's what you want to use. Okay, Black Bear, Tennessee. I'll give you this one. You didn't have a question mark in front of it, did you? Got to put the question mark. Question mark goes right. It's all backwards here. Right there. Right there. Put a question mark there, and I'll answer your questions. I've watched many of your instructions on recall when I work outside with my 1-year-old Shepherd. She is focused on chasing lizards rather than me working on her recall. It's not really even a question, is it? If you let the dog chase the lizards, then you're letting the dog chase the lizards and not recalling. That's where corrections come in. Pop the dog back. Hey, pay attention, because I'm telling you something. And positive only trainers will tell you, oh, you can do it positive. You don't need a correction. But they never show that they can do it. They always write on balanced trainer sites that it can be done, but they don't ever show it can be done. I've never seen them take a dog that's distracted and fix that distraction with treats only. You have to block that behavior. And if your dog is chasing lizards, when you ask him to come, and that lizard runs in the street, and your dog runs in the street, you're going to hate yourself for it. So, corrections. Let's see. I don't see any question marks. Here's a question mark. Haven. Is side submitting an overly aggressive, dominant, out of control dog okay, or how else to go about it? If the dog is out of control, aggressively dominant, and you can side submit him, then he's not overly out of control or aggressive or dominant. That's it. Because a real overly aggressive, dominant dog is not going to let you do that. So it's TV BS. this side submitting thing. I don't like it. Just my thing. I don't like it. Okay. Let's see here. War Daddy. Thanks for awesome videos. I have a 6-month-old Doberman. I do box training with him every day, but he's slow. How can I increase the speed? Thanks. So the box training, are you talking about like the sending him to a box and then doing positions in the box? If that's the case, then what you want to do is make the game faster with more rewards, right? So get close to the box, have him touch the box, then bring him back. Yes. Have him touch the box, do a thing. Yes. Increase your energy, increase your enthusiasm about the game, and it'll increase the dog's speed. What you have to be careful with a lot of training like that is the over repetition of the behavior makes the dog just suddenly, get really flat, and that's what you want to end. Okay, Arian. My dog resource guarded against my friend's dog. They're 1 month apart and are 7 months old. I removed her and put her in her bed and made her stay. Did I do the right thing? Yeah, you corrected your dog. But you need to make sure that the dog understands that I would bring the dog back in, right to the picture. Back in, fix the problem. Don't let the dog get away with bad behavior. This is a very vague question here, Eddie. Any advice or experience with Basenjis? Yes. Don, my husky doesn't like to eat dairy. Is that a big deal? I feel like it's okay. Why are you feeding your dog dairy anyway? Yeah. I mean, if they like it and you use cheese or something, it's great. But if the dog doesn't like dairy, not a big deal. I've started training, luring my Doberman pup, and now she's getting the hang of it. But I haven't introduced leash pressure yet. How do I properly do that? Move right into it. Start teaching her leash pressure. Super, super simple to do. Okay, this looks interesting. Pat Munro, I've had working line German Shepherd. What to do if she ignores shaking scruff? With professional trainer, ignored very high stim. And any other thing I can consider. You need to kind of go back down to the basics, right? You need to reestablish your relationship, because if not, what you're going to do is you're kind of going off this deep end of corrections with the dog of how much harder can I correct the dog? How much more can I do this? How much higher can I turn the stem on the collar? And you're going to get to a point of no return with the dog. The dog is going to just explode, right? And that's not what you want. So I would really go back to the basics and start to establish a nice balanced relationship with the dog. I know that sounds hard, but it's the way I would do it. No worries here, real Josh, no worries. Cass, do you have a timeline for training competition heel work? When do you start to introduce corrections for looking away? Where would you expect to be with a 6-month-old puppy? Well, a 6-month-old puppy, I would expect by the time he's a year old would have a good focused heel. By the time he's a year and a half old, it should be near perfect if you're doing it every day and you're starting at 6 months. It takes about a year, I would say, to develop that. I don't like to make too big of a deal. This is going to sound counterintuitive to much of what I said, but this is part of my system of training really entails understanding the dog more than making it make logical sense for you guys or people. If you correct a dog for a focused heel means the dog is looking at me and walking. If the dog looks down and I pop the dog back up, the dog is getting in this yo-yo habit. So I want to, this is critical here. This will be worth the price of your entire admission here, even though you didn't pay for one. When a dog is looking at me, I release the dog and make him look away. So if I get a look, good, yes, I release the dog. Then I get more, yes. I never want to. Now, it does happen, but I don't want to make it a habit that I'm getting the dog to look at me, look away, correct, and look back at me, because that builds that yo-yo habit, and that's what I don't want to do. And that's something I learned after I started training Goofy through experience. So really good one for you to learn. Robert, 1 year and 2-month-old German Shepherd training for IPO, trying to get her faster engagement without withholding food for several days to raise food drive. What's your opinion? I think it's fine. trust me, dogs don't eat every day in the wild, and we can do really good with intermittent fasting to our diets. It's not a bad thing. So don't overthink it. And you know, a lot of people will withhold food, especially if you're doing tracking with your dog. Withhold food and only feed on the track. So you're doing something positive with your dog. Don't beat yourself up about it. You're better off to do that than to have to use really hideously strong aversives, because that's going to destroy your relationship with your dog. Angie, taking my dog to new places for walks, what? Taking my dog to new places for walks, what? What should I be working on? He's an 8-month-old pug. He has little to no focus on me. Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I'd take him with me, and every time he'd look at me, I'd give him a little couple pieces of food. And then I would sit down on a bench, and I'd be hand feeding him every kibble, every little morsel. I think that would be a lot of fun for him. Fosk, my rescue, drools a lot, really a lot in the car and even around. It doesn't eat afterwards. It's been going on forever. He's 7 months old. I did the whole desensitization. What more can I do? Well, some dogs drool a lot. Maya and Jimmy drool a lot. Now, if your dog drools a lot and you're worried about it, I take the dog to a doctor, to a veterinarian, and have their teeth checked. Sometimes if there's infection in the teeth or pain in the teeth, then the dog will have more likelihood to drool. Camilla says, would you recommend a German Shepherd for a first-time owner if working with a trainer? Sure. No problem at all. I don't think you have to be a special person to have a dog. Like, Janet has mentioned to me I should do getting the right breed for you, getting the right dog. And I think it's a good idea, but there's so many pitfalls in it. Like if I say, first of all, I would never say only a strong guy should have a Malinois. That's total BS. Or only a professional trainer should have a Malinois. I know more female Malinois owners who are good, including the woman who bred Goofy, then I know guys. I knew one guy who I trained as Malinois guy was a complete moron, completely irresponsible. And he had to get rid of the dog. And, it's a tough one. I mean, if you're a first-time owner, you're going to work with a trainer, you have a strong personality, you know what you're in for, yes, get a German Shepherd. It's a great, great, great dog. Mojo Magic, that's very kind of you. Thank you and thank you for putting a question mark in front of it so that I see it. My mind is only really set to see question marks. How do I correct Daffy and Betty? How do I correct a 17-week-old American Staff Border Collie for attacking a leash and lunging toward all other dogs on short walks? Well, first of all, it's a 17-week-old dog. So what you want to do is get the dog at a distance, correct the dog, reward the dog, put more attention on the doing the good thing than doing the bad thing. But, an Amstaff Border Collie mix, it might have some reactivity issues towards other dogs. It's not a great cross for being dog friendly, right? So that's going to be a tricky one, but you're going to have to get on the dog. You're going to have to get the dog to understand that starting at a distance, break the distance down, slower, and then you'll have a really nicely trained dog, but it's going to take you some time. So take a quick break. If you're not a member of my site, robertcabral.com, please run over and join. It's, I think, $15 a month. It's very, very reasonable. There's yearly memberships as well. If you're an active member of the military or police or anything like that, there are discounts available for that as well, because we do respect our men and women who serve our country and our neighborhoods. T-shirts are also available. There's the link in the video description below. You can get the Visionary Food, which I always talk about. You can get the T-shirts. The new Locate Dominate is available right today on both of my platforms. You can get a 10% discount using the code SUNSET on Teespring. If you go to Spreadshop tomorrow through Wednesday, I think they'll have free shipping or some kind of a discount, so you get that. Okay, Hustle, what do I think of the current state of Doberman breed for personal protection? What are good breeders? Who are good breeders for civil Doberman with strong nerves? I don't ever recommend breeders online. If you want to send me a message, I could probably recommend you to somebody. But Dobermans aren't really, they went through that period where they were really bad. There's some really good ones out there now. But it really depends from the breeder, right? Some breeders are breeding good Dobermans. Some are just breeding crap. Okay, I'm going to answer this one for you here, Gaming Kings, but you guys got to put question marks in. I'm doing this because I just saw it. Any advice on stopping a Belgian Malinois from having diarrhea? I've tried different food types. I would check what the quality of the food is you're feeding. I would see if the dog is stressed. I would obviously, if it's very runny diarrhea, I'd go to a veterinarian immediately. But if they're just soft stools, you can put things in like pumpkin, which I don't really like to use because it's high carbohydrate food. But psyllium husk is a really good PSYLLIUM, psyllium husk is the thing I use with several of my dogs to keep their stools regular. So only got a couple minutes left. Hangry Coon says, how can I help my dog overcome fear? She's afraid of literally everything. Our walks are always a struggle, and she cries when it's time to go out. She's a 2-year-old husky mix. Well, this dog hasn't been socialized, hasn't seen the experience of going out. I would take the dog out, and good things would only happen outside of the house. Food, affection, playing, anything like that. The house would be the most boring place in the world for her. She came in, there'd be nothing to do. I would take her out several times. I would be feeding her outside. I'd be petting her outside. I'd be brushing her outside. I'd be playing games with her outside. You've got to break that. You got a disaster on your hands if you don't fix that. Tess, how do I stop zoomies on a 7-month-old Malinois? When she gets excited, should I ignore her and turn my back on her to redirect her attention to toys? Well, you can do either one. But when a dog gets the zoomies, generally turning your back, the whole turning your back on a dog thing is a dumb idea. Like if a dog is going to jump on me, I'd rather jump on him, have him jump me face on so I can defend myself than turn my back on him. I think it's a bad idea. Put a line on the dog and tell the dog, hey, knock it off, and be firm with the dog. Get in the dog's space and fix it. But I hope you can handle the dog physically, because that's what you got to do. War Daddy, thank you for that. Fish and Mike's difference between Western line and Eastern working line German Shepherds. I have all black 17-week-old Western working line Shepherds. It's going to depend on the dog. You know, I mean, the Eastern lines, I think, are a little harder dogs generally. And I'm saying, you're probably saying East and West German line dogs. I like the Western line dogs. I've got no problem with them. I think they're sometimes a little prettier dog. The Eastern lines are really more around set for working. They're harder dogs. Western usually, from what I've seen, are bigger. And although I like smaller dogs, it's just a choice. It's a choice for you. Okay, here's a really confusing name, so I'm not going to say it. Seer Maid. 16-month-old rescue Dutch aggression resource guarding, possessiveness towards owner, me, with everything from a bottle cap to food, growling with a muzzle supplied with an intent. Obedience is ongoing. Well, it's got to be more ongoing, right? Everything's got to be fair to this dog. Everything's got to be structured to this dog. And I don't think with a 16-month-old, especially with a Dutchie, you're not going to win this battle through fighting or dominance. It's just not going to happen. You're going to win this battle through fair interaction. So that's what you got to look at. Fair interaction. Okay, Razor JB, good to see you. Strength and honor to you, my brother. Thank you. Richard, what is the best way to keep my Mal from trying to attack cars? He does it while I'm walking, working him with a pinch collar and e-collar. You're going to want to move the dog away from the cars. So keep the dog, find out where the cars are. And instead of being within 10, 15 feet of the cars, start at 50 feet away from the cars. You want to desensitize them and make it that it's no big deal. Correcting the dog over and over in front of it is just going to make the dog more frustrated, more crazed about it. So distance will definitely help you a lot. Steve, I don't offer one-on-one virtual training. I just don't have the time for it. But my online lessons, you can watch, and there are lessons, join the lesson videos that I put up all the time. In fact, it's one of the most popular sections of the site that will give you an insight exactly how I teach. Okay. Brad, what's the best way to start resource calling food and crate for a while in crate? My daughter's dog, and she feeds him and she attacks him. What is the best way to start resource calling food? I think you mean resource guarding food and crate. For a while in crate, my daughter's dog, and she feeds him or her, she attacks me. I can't make sense of that question. I'm really sorry. Can you say it again? Janny, what is your opinion on Turkish Kengals? I don't know anything about them. Don't know the breed. Poi, how to protect your dog from unleashed dog or from approaching aggressive dog. Thanks. From the Philippines. Well, you guys in the Philippines and some other countries have a whole bunch of wild dogs. Thanks, Alan. I would carry a stick. I'd carry a hiking stick, ski pole or something, and I would protect my dog. I would. I'd protect my dog, whatever it takes, and protect myself. That's really important. Guys, I'm going to do a couple things here. Okay. Thank you guys for your good comments. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to do one more question. I'm going to go like this because I got to get in the other room. You're welcome, Robert. By the way, guys, just another thing. Thank you for being members of my site. Those of you who are members of my site, which in 1 minute, I'm going to run over to my member section and do a live chat there. So if you're a member, even if you join up right this minute, if you go right now to robertcabral.com, you can get in the members live chat, which will be me for another probably 40 minutes or so, because those chats usually don't last long, but all the questions get answered in there. I don't leave till they're answered usually. I appreciate you guys training your dogs. You know, I love when I see people training their dogs. I've got one of my clients that I've done 3 or 4 private sessions with, actually Rio the Alano with Harold and Sherry. I watch them on Instagram and I'm like, wow, these people are really doing it. And when you guys do that, when I see your videos, when I see you guys training your dogs, when I hear your stories, it means the world to me. It really means a lot to me to see that you care enough to train your dog. You care enough to work your dog, to get your dog to really bond with you through communication. Remember, training is communication, getting your dog to do what you need them to do. That's critical. And thank you for that. So I'm going to end it on that, guys. I'm going to close out of here. Run over to my member section. If you want to join, do that. By the way, the shirts, 10% off today if you use code SUNSET. And tomorrow you can get them on Spreadshop, which means you can get the baseball jerseys like this. Right now you can just get t-shirts and tank tops, but tomorrow they'll be on Spreadshop with everything else. I really, I need a better t-shirt outlet because the quality is good, but it's always a hassle for me to get products up and out and stuff like that. So guys, thank you. I hope to see you in the member chat. Don't forget, before you leave, go put a bunch of thumbs up. Make sure we got 173 people. It's a pretty small group, but really nice to see. I will see you hopefully in the members chat.